Okay, so I picked this up at a yard sale for only $5. It's an older Revell kit of the B25J Mitchell in 1/48 scale. This is a good old classic kit. I remember building this a long time ago. It's one of the first models I built, I think, when I first got back into building models around my retirement age. So, I saw this and I picked it up for a very good price. It's brand new. It was still wrapped in the plastic. I just took the plastic off and I'm going to open it up, and we're going to look at the, first of all, we're going to look at the box art a little better. See if I can adjust this camera better for starters. There we go. That's a little better, I think. No? Yes? Anyhow, yeah, made by Revell. Let's see if there's a date on this thing on the box. Manufactured by Revell, 2017. That's not when this kit was first made, though. Let's turn around the side and see what we get here. Oh yeah, some nice illustrations on the side of the box of the finished kit. It looks like you get decals for a couple different versions here. One all in the metallic silver or aluminum. The other one in the army green color. And the end, it's the same thing there. Yeah, this shows a squadron of B-25s attacking some shipping with some zeros in the background. Okay. Now we're going to take a look at what all we get inside the box. This is the way a lot of the old kits were packaged by Revell. And let's cut this off like that. Get that out of our way. And we are presented with a lot of plastic. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3 plastic bags, no, 4. I haven't looked at the instructions yet, so we got 2 sets of clear parts. They're identical. So that's a little bonus. If you screw up one, you get to work on the other one. They're identical. Not 2 different versions, they're just 2 exact. Let's see. Looking at the numbers on the sprue itself, 5502-2000. It says different numbers on it. 5927-9020. However, the pieces look totally the same. So somehow we got 2 bags of clear parts. That's nice. This top bag here looks like it has a couple of big screws in it with the bigger parts, the wings and the body and the fuselage. And then inside this one, 2 more sprues with the engines, the wheels, the cowls, some bombs, cockpit, machine guns, various other little parts, propellers. And we get 1, 2, 3 crew figures. Put those back. And here are the instructions. And inside is the decal sheet. For the 2 different versions, there is the silver colored or natural aluminum B25, and it shows these big red decals on it. Finito, Benito, and Next Hirohito. I am going to build the Army green colored one, so I won't be using those, but they look good. 1999 Revell monogram, it says. Okay. Kit number 5512. Alright, we open it up, we have the paint guide. Letters corresponding with paint colors. Decal application instructions. A list of some symbols you're going to find throughout the build. And they have, this page is all the parts spelled out for you. There's 2 pages. 2 pages of parts, all numbered. Then we get right into the build. And in the instructions they show, naturally, starting with the interior, the cockpit and interior parts. Continue with interior, adding the bombs. Adding propellers, machine guns, the nose, the very last steps are adding the canopies, and then we have step number 7, they're calling it. First one is the A version, which is the Army green. And then on the very back page we have the B version, which is the aluminum colored airplane. Yeah. So there you go. The B25J Mitchell. by Revell. Old classic kit. It was so many years ago when I built this, I do not remember how it went together. I mean, how well it went together is what I'm saying. So we're going to find out. So what I'm going to do is... Okay. This first sprue I'm going to look at has the wings and half of the fuselage, the tail section, and the detailing is okay. It's kind of soft, but it's okay. There is a mixture of raised and recessed panel lines. And there's something stamped on the wing right there. Revell Incorporated, 1977, China. So that's when this this sprue right here was formed in the molds. 1977. That shows you how old it is. And surprisingly, there is not a whole lot of flash. There is some here and there, but not super bad. This other sprue is almost identical to this one, except that it has the 2 engine nacelles on it. Now the inside of the fuselage has some pretty decent details molded onto it. Instruments and piping and stuff like that. Very basic, but it's there. Next we're going to move on to this next sprue. This one has all the bombs. It has the cockpit parts, seats, the floors, the bomb bay racks, the machine guns. There's the landing gear. It too is has soft detail, but it's there. The instrument panel is pretty decent. It shows the dials all molded onto the instrument panel. Probably some dry brushing will bring that out. And then there's the landing gear. This last big sprue has the crew figures on it right here, the side-mounted machine guns, the engines and the main wheels, the propellers, some bulkheads, engine cowlings, so there we are. It's a level 4 model, I think. I think mainly because of all the small parts. There's a lot of them. I'm going to open up one of the plastic bags that have the clear parts in it. Do a little look at it. Looks pretty clear. Pretty nice and crisp looking. The framing on the clear parts is raised up a little bit, but not too terribly too much, so it gives you a place to mask off for painting. A couple of the side windows, the window that's in the rear tail of the plane, there's the front, there's the top turret. Yeah, okay. All right, so we'll put those back in the bag so they don't get scratched up. All right, now all that's left to do is to start the process. All right, so I'm going to be doing the A version, which is the Jaunty Joe version. So on the instructions, you have to pay attention and watch out for the A and B versions in the instructions. In step 1, the first thing we notice is the A with a question mark next to it, and right down below it, it says B with a question mark next to it. So there's certain things that we're going to do with the A version and certain things we're going to do with the B version. And it looks like what they're talking about is cutting out some holes in the different versions. So since we're doing the A version, which is the Jaunty Joe, and just as a refresher, that's going to be this version right here. We need to find part 99 and part 1, and we're going to cut out some holes. These holes are going to be the place on the outside of the fuselage where we're going to mount the guns. So let's go ahead and find these two fuselage halves and start cutting some holes. Alright, so what I've done here, the inside of the fuselages, is I've put down a light layer of NATO Black XF69. It's almost dry, and when that's totally dry, I'm going to go over it with a light coating of the Cockpit Green XF71. Just kind of lightly go over that. The idea is I want the NATO Black to be like shadowy background stuff. This will go on the top and highlight most of the ribbing and stuff like that. Then I'll go through when that's all dry and do a little detail stuff with some flat aluminum and some of these Weathering Master pastels. So there's 2 or 3 more steps for the interior here. I drilled out the holes they asked us to. Right there inside. I don't know if they'll show up on the camera, but there's some holes I drilled out right there. On both sides. And those, I think, are going to be used later on for the gun mounts that go on the outside of the fuselage right here, I think. We'll find out. So, next coming up is more work on the interior, and we'll get that all squared away. Okay, inside of the fuselage halves, I have done the NATO Black, and then I've gone over it lightly with the XF71 Cockpit Green by Tamiya. This is all using a brush. I didn't use the airbrush at all. And this is almost dry, so when this is dry, I'm going to go over it with these 2 little containers I have of the Tamiya Weathering Masters. This one has sand, light sand, and mud in it. This one has flat aluminum, an iron color, and then a rust color. So I'll do a combination of some of these and bring out some of the details that are molded in on the walls here of the fuselage. There's instrument panels and dials and lines and pipes and ribbing and stuff like that. So we're going to give this a little bit of a dress up. That's coming up next. See, part of this is the second little part of step one. They show three boxes or radio units or something, and a set of seats that are going to go in this side of the fuselage. So I found those and I painted them black. I'll go ahead and glue them in place before I put down the Tamiya weathering pastels. Alright, here are the two interior fuselage halves so far. Now we're going to move on to another part where we start building the looks like the cockpit floor, and it also doubles as the nose landing gear bay. So it's several pieces that puts that together, and this is where we're going to add in the pilot seats and the instrument panels and that sort of thing. They're showing that they want us to build the nose gear, which I will go ahead and do that and add it, but I won't put the tire on yet. The wheel will just stay off till later. Okay, so there's only so much I can do with this because the molded on details are very soft and really, really basic. So basically all I've done is just did a little dry brushing and stuff like that, and these weathering master pastels from Tamiya. That's how it looks so far. Very basic. Once the two halves of the fuselage are put together, like this. Okay, let's try that again. Once the two halves of the fuselage are put together, like there, like that. Okay, and you look down in there, and mind you, this is without the canopies on, or the pilot seats in, or anything in there. You don't really see very much. And when the excuse me, bomb bay section is put in and the doors put on, you're not going to see very much. So to me, this is good enough. You know, I just had a little fun kind of dressing it up a little bit. It's a basic out-of-the-box build anyway. I'm not going to use aftermarket parts in it. I know I've seen videos of guys building similar kits where they will remove all this stuff and scrape it all out and put in all the aftermarket photo etch and etc., or add their own scratch building stuff, and you know, that's great. I'm just not into that, because I just want a basic build, and just I want a B25 that looks decent. And the two halves of this fuselage, by the way, at this point in time, they go together very well. There is no big gappage at all. It's a little bit, but that can be taken care of pretty easily. So there it is. There's the fuselage of the airplane so far. And so we're going to set these aside and we're going to move on to building the next steps, which is assembling the cockpit floor right here. And underneath that is going to be the front wheel housing. And in fact, I'm going to grab the, let's see, what I need to do is add some more parts to this before I grab anything else. And they are showing that they want you to put the front landing gear in place. And I kind of question that at this point. I'm gonna look ahead after I put some more parts in this. I'm gonna look ahead and see if that's really necessary, or if I can add it later. Just because I want to keep things that I'm painting differently separated, so you know, makes it a little bit easier that way to keep the different colors separated. Anyhow, I'm just going to continue on building the interior part of this cockpit now. Alright, here's what's going on with the cockpit. I've got it pretty much all painted up. And I still got to wait for the seats to dry. Then I will do a little bit of dry brushing, weathering, or whatever. And I decided, by looking ahead and studying the instructions, that the front landing gear strut has to go on now. There's no way you can get around it. You can't attach it later. At least I don't want to try to. So I put it on now, and I'm not even going to touch it with any paint right now. I don't think. I might just paint the whole thing black and just kind of leave it at that for now with the NATO black. And we'll see what happens later on, because in a little while, when this paint is dried on the seats and I've done a little bit of dry brushing or weathering, I'm going to be inserting it into the right side of the fuselage. And if you turn the page, they want you to keep adding stuff into the fuselage. There's ammo boxes and bulkheads. The bomb bay is going to be put in. And once you get the bomb bay in, you will put the two fuselage halves together. So there's still a few steps here to go before I can cement the two halves together. But for right now, we're going to concentrate on finishing up this cockpit and getting it all ready to go inside the fuselage. So there we go. Okay, we're moving right along here, and I have working on the bomb bay section. The two bulkheads, the roof. Once this glue is all set up, as usual, I will start painting it. The rear gun also has been put in, as you can see there. It's a little armor plate back there. Machine gun put in place. Yeah. So we're almost at the point of putting the actual bombs in the bomb bay. And after I get this painted, that will be next. Okay. I'm at the point now where I'm going to attach the cockpit into the interior of the right half of the fuselage. So what they do to make this pretty easy for you is there is a notch. There's a notch right there, just above my finger, and you line up this part right here of the cockpit with that notch, and you just put it into place right there and apply a little glue. The rest of the cockpit is now lined up, so all you have to do is tack it in place with some glue. Just kind of press it into place. Make sure it is pushed down all the way. And there we go. The cockpit is now glued into the front right half of the fuselage. I hope that's focused. We want to let that glue up really well. Like so. So I just want to leave this alone until it is completely set up.